Yo, Everett. Well, this is called the hard problem, I guess, because it's supposed to be difficult, if not impossible, to solve. But everybody who attempts it basically has to begin by saying, "Well, it's not really a problem at all." Uh, and to do that, well, we can either say, like what you're saying, that it's basically a matter of empirically measuring the neural correlates of consciousness using brain scanning techniques to record the brain in action, and based on a person's subjective report about what they're experiencing, uh, map the correlation between the experience and the brain state. And the theory is that once we've done that, consciousness will no longer be a problem. There will no longer be a dualism, an irreducible gap between mind and body, because mind will have been reduced to body. I would think you would have to assume that that's um, the actual result of this solution to the mind-body problem. If the neural correlates of consciousness are all that there is to consciousness, then once we have them, there's no more mind. There's no more mystery or soul or magic that we don't understand. I don't know if I buy into that, because while it's true that there is a certain pattern of synchronization over different parts of the brain associated with conscious experience, I don't think that that necessary uh, activity in the brain is sufficient for consciousness. It's one aspect of consciousness, but there's also a coupling to, well, the body. First of all, the body's homeostatic metabolism and life activities. It's all a part of one cognitive system. Um, so not only are these neural states occurring within a body, they're occurring within a world. And a conscious state is not just brain activity. It is brain in a world activity. So in other words, when I'm conscious of eating my Cheerios in the morning, it's because my brain is doing some stuff in here that's highly synchronized and very complicated, and it's almost an emergent property, and this is what the connectionist theorists talk about. But it's also connected to this pattern of energy in the world, and without the bowl of Cheerios to put into my mouth and to taste and to hold and to really be with, the conscious state can't occur. Now, we can have dreams where we know we're laying in bed and it's all the brain, and it can seem almost real. And sometimes we'll even have lucid dreams where we know we're dreaming, and that's even more real. Almost everyone will probably say that they can tell the difference once they've waken up from a dream, that the dream was a dream, even while they're dreaming, they can't be sure, unless it's lucid. Um, so we usually don't characterize ourselves as conscious in dreams when only brain activity is occurring. This is why Freud looked to the dreams to understand the unconscious, because it's a level of thought that is uncoupled from reality, and so it can give rise to experience, sure, but it's purely illusory, which is interesting because usually you think an illusion isn't something pure; it's a nothingness, and yet dreaming is somehow both pure and illusory at the same time. But we don't characterize it as conscious, and that's what I want to really point out. So when we know the neural correlates of a conscious experience, we haven't gotten rid of the problem of consciousness. Consciousness is something beyond just the activity of the brain, no matter how complex and emergent it may be. The real emergent phenomenon of consciousness requires brain, body, and world working in a continuous loop of feedback, where it's like a snake eating its own tail, and you can never discern the outside of it, or where it begins, where it ends. It's sort of always feeding off of itself and going in a loop. So I don't think just knowing the neural correlates gets rid of the mystery of consciousness. Consciousness is not a localizable phenomenon. And I think the fact that you said that, there's a gap, and it's kind of weird, is interesting, because then, you go on to say, but just because something's weird, that doesn't mean anything philosophical. It doesn't mean anything, it doesn't matter. But I would say, in response to that philosophy is only what it is because we're, fixated on weirdness. The person that thinks everything is normal doesn't philosophize. Philosophy arises because of astonishment and wonder, bafflement before the world, not, understanding. If we understood everything from the beginning, then we wouldn't still be trying to figure out this weird cosmic situation that we're in. Even though we think it's all matter, somehow we're in it. We're immanent in the material. So it's kind of, it makes you wonder if the hard problem of consciousness is really something that could be solved intellectually, purely scientifically, or if it's an existential problem that requires, questioning meaning, questioning, your mortality, your existence, and wondering about death, and really being embodied. Embodiment is really an extension of the existentialist's critique of Cartesian science, of the mind-body dualism.